Hi, it's Monty from Sportive Cyclist, and on this channel I've done many videos about bike maintenance. I've stripped down my road bike to its bare frame, replaced the bottom bracket, fitted new and or cleaned components and sort of got it working again. But I've always had a tentative dream to build a bike from scratch, to find a hidden gem second-hand frame on eBay, buy the components and make myself something special. Whilst I've been tentatively dreaming and procrastinating, my brother-in-law has spent the last 5 years working up weird and wonderful bike build combinations in his bike workshop double garage cum Zwift studio. For some reason and for some time now, building a new mountain bike for my 12-year-old son has been top of the list of his dream bike builds. And he's only gone and done it. Hit the montage. I'll admit I'm biased, but I think it's a bit of a looker. It is something of a departure for this road cycling YouTube channel, but I thought I would use this opportunity to do a quick bike check of my son's smart new whip. Hopefully it will inspire you to have a go at building up a fresh new bike, perhaps based on a second-hand frame, and making something special, or at least a bit unique. So let's get into it. This isn't very helpful. It's the wrong way round. Starting with the frame along with the forks came off eBay, and they cost a princely sum of £30, which we've come to realise was a bit of a steal. We think it is a Saracen 17-inch Powertrax alloy frame, which probably cost a bit more than 30 quid when it was first released. Now, it did come with one issue. It had a fused bottom bracket down here, where the bottom bracket is, which my brother-in-law toiled for many weeks trying to extract and ultimately failed to do so. When he did give up, he took it to his local bike shop, and the mechanic there managed to get it out, and he got the bottom bracket out of the frame. It was the mechanic's view that this frame had been something of a top-end frame in its era. Partly this was based on the fact that the bottom bracket that he did eventually extract was right at the top end of Shimano's range at the time. Also, the general lightness of the frame, which we think is even lighter than most modern alloy frames. So, coming back to cost, our working hypothesis is that the previous owner tried and failed to extract the bottom bracket and ended up selling the frame for a song on eBay. My brother-in-law picked it up for 30 quid. Bonza. Whilst we're talking frame and fork, the keen-eyed amongst you will note that this fork here is certainly not a suspension one, but we're still calling it a mountain bike, mainly because of these nice chunky tyres which give it plenty of cushioning. More on the tyres in a second. Turning to the drivetrain, it's a 1x setup. At the front we've got a 34 tooth chainring, and at the rear I think it's an 11 to 52 tooth cassette, which provides a vast range of cycling gear combinations for my son to use. The whole group set was purchased along with the chain from eBay. It was marketed as a Shimano Diore group set, but it was obviously clear from the photos that not all of the components were going to be Shimano parts, and in fact only the rear derailleur itself plus the shifter at the front is Shimano Diore. The crankset, the bottom bracket and the cassette are definitely not Shimano. I can't even pronounce the name of the brand on the crankset, but hey ho, it's fine. The chain is a branded chain. That's a KMC X12 12-speed chain, so that's a decent quality chain. And all in all, this group set cost about £200. Moving on to the wheels are made by Mavic, and in fact they belong to the mechanic's own collection. My brother-in-law has had them for years. They're a 26-inch set. You can't exactly remember which type of Mavics they are. Maybe they're Crossmax, but either way they're quite an expensive set of wheels. Wrapped around the Mavic wheel set we have a rather attractive set of Schwalbe tabletop tyres. These have nice tan walls which make them particularly striking. In terms of width, they're 2.25s, which I assume is a reference in inches. Either way, they're an extremely chunky and therefore comfortable set of knobbly tyres for my son to go off-road on. Cost-wise for the tyres, we're looking at £25. I wrote that in my notes, but I've realised I don't know whether that's for one tyre or for two. I'll flash up on the screen now what the cost was. Turning to the brakes. It's a pair of Tektro cantilever brakes, not particularly expensive, but they definitely do the job in terms of stopping the bike. At the front we've got a similar set of Tektro cantilever brakes, and then the Tektro brake levers on the handlebars here and here. See, we have 2 sets of brakes. For the Tektro brakes, we're talking about £12 for each set, and then the brake levers I think were about £15. Handlebar wise, we've got an SB3 set of handlebars here, which to be honest are a little bit wide for my son. They're in stealth black and they cost what, about £10, probably need to be cut down. They're married up here with a set of On1 Evo grips, black, and I understand this is On1's gnarliest set of grips. They cost about £5 each. Then moving towards the seat post here, this is the El Guapo Bronco seat post, which cost about £10. Holding the seat post in place, this is a super light seat clamp from Planet X, marketed as an MK2 titanium. I believe the only titanium bit of it is in fact the bolt, but hey ho, the weight weenies amongst the mountain biking community will appreciate it. This little piece here cost 20 quid. The saddle is a Cell San Marco Monza Start saddle. Apparently these are carbon steel rails, presumably not to be confused with carbon. There's only a little bit of padding in the seat. Overall, it seems like quite a nice saddle and just cost 15 quid. Seems to do the job quite well. Moving back to the front of the bike, the stem here is another component from El Guapo. This is the Stallion stem and this cost 20 quid. The headset, I don't think this has been changed. This came with the frame and the forks. Turning to the finishing kit, my brother-in-law already had an anodized red bottle holder here, so we decided to match the pedals here in a similar anodized red colour. I picked these up off the website Light in the Box, and I think they probably set me back about £25. They're from a brand called Misery. In order to protect the chainstay here from the chain when it's in its smallest cog, I picked up this sheath type thing from Lizard Skin, again in red, in order to match the pedals and the bottle cage. Then finally, we've got some custom decals here spelling out the word Polestar, which would be the branding that my son would choose if he were to start his own bike company, which I am in no way encouraging him to do ever. And that's about it in terms of the bike check. If I've missed anything out, then please do ask in the comment section below. So what was the final cost? In short, a lot for a 12-year-old's mountain bike. The frame, along with all the parts excluding the wheels, came to about £375. Who knows on the wheels, my brother-in-law had them in stock and I plan to return them to him at some point, but let's say about £200 for a decent pair of mountain bike wheels. The local bike shop work, which included a challenging bottom bracket extraction, fitting the crankset, the chain and so on, and conducting a brake service, came to about £120. Now I should say that if it wasn't for the fused bottom bracket, my brother-in-law would have done all of that work himself. But I think with this bike going to his 12-year-old nephew, he wanted to play things a bit safe. So totting it all up for a bike like this, I think we're probably talking about £695. If we're including a nice set of Mavic wheels, it's probably more like 800 to 900 quid. I have no idea what people spend on kids' bikes these days. I imagine this is a bit toppy, but you have to admit it's a pretty sweet whip. It's perfect for my son to cruise around on, sporting his Champion branded white bucket hat with his neon bum bag slung across his shoulder. So I'll close the video with some shots of the bike and my son riding it. If you have any questions at all about the build, put them in the comments section below and I'll be sure to ask my brother-in-law. With that, I'll see you in the next video.